What if France won the 2022 World Cup? What would have happened to Messi's legacy? What would have happened to Mbappé's Ballon d'Or chances? And what would have happened to the entire GOAT debate? In this video, we're going to explore this exact scenario and how one penalty shootout could have rewritten football history forever. Let's begin. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar was supposed to be Lionel Messi's last dance and his final chance to achieve football immortality. But standing in his way was a French team that had already tasted glory just 4 years earlier in Russia. France came into this tournament as defending champions, led by the unstoppable Kylian Mbappé, who despite being just 23 years old, was already being hailed as football's next superstar. Didier Deschamps had built a machine of a team, one that combined the flair of Mbappé, the elegance of Antoine Griezmann, and the defensive solidity of Raphael Varane and William Saliba. This wasn't just any French team, this was a squad that had the potential to become only the third nation in history to win back-to-back World Cups after Italy in the 1930s and Brazil in the late 1950s and early 1960s. But the road to Qatar hadn't been smooth for Les Bleus. They had suffered a shocking early exit from Euro 2021, losing on penalties to Switzerland in the round of 16, a result that sent shockwaves through French football. The team was also dealing with internal drama, with Paul Pogba ruled out due to injury and Karim Benzema withdrawing just before the tournament with a thigh problem. These setbacks meant Deschamps had to rebuild his squad's chemistry and find new solutions to old problems. Meanwhile, Argentina arrived in Qatar with their own narrative. Messi's quest for World Cup glory had captivated the football world for over a decade, and at 35 years old, this really felt like his final opportunity to claim the one trophy that had eluded him throughout his legendary career. But it wouldn't be easy. The tournament began with both teams navigating their respective groups with varying degrees of comfort. France started slowly, drawing 1-1 with Denmark and losing 1-0 to Tunisia in their final group game, though they had already secured qualification by that point. There were whispers that the defending champions looked vulnerable, that perhaps the weight of expectation and the absence of key players like Benzema and Pogba was affecting their rhythm. Mbappé was carrying the attacking burden almost single-handedly, while Griezmann had reinvented himself as a deeper playmaker, dropping back to orchestrate France's attacks from midfield positions. Argentina, on the other hand, had started their campaign with one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history, losing 2-1 to Saudi Arabia in their opening match. The defeat sent panic through the Argentine camp and left Messi visibly emotional after the game. But Lionel Scaloni's team showed incredible mental strength, bouncing back with convincing victories over Mexico and Poland to top their group and set up a knockout phase run that would become the stuff of legend. As both teams progressed through the knockout rounds, the narrative threads began to intertwine. France dispatched Poland, England, and Morocco with a combination of tactical discipline and individual brilliance from Mbappé, who was emerging as the tournament's breakout star. Each match saw the young PSG forward grow in confidence and influence, his pace and finishing ability causing nightmares for opposing defenses. Argentina's journey was more dramatic and a bit controversial, as the team required penalty shootouts to overcome both the Netherlands and Croatia. Messi finally started showing the leadership and clutch performances that had defined his club career, but had somehow since eluded him on the international stage. And soon, it was time for the World Cup final. By the way, if you are enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe. The stage was set for a final that would pit youth against experience, the hungry defending champions against the desperate legends chasing one final moment of glory. France had the tactical flexibility of Deschamps, a manager who had already proven he could win the biggest games, while Argentina had the emotional pull of Messi's quest and a team that had grown closer with each dramatic victory. December 18th, 2022, Lusail Stadium. 88,000 fans packed into the arena, while over 1 billion watched around the world as France and Argentina prepared to write the final chapter of an extraordinary World Cup. The atmosphere was electric, split between the sky blue and white of Argentina and the tricolor of France, and the match would unfold exactly as it did in reality, until the most crucial moment of all. The game began with Argentina taking control from the first whistle. Messi, playing in what everyone assumed would be his final World Cup match, was everywhere, dropping deep to collect the ball, threading passes through French lines, and orchestrating Argentina's attacks with the precision of a conductor leading a symphony. France looked sluggish, perhaps affected by a virus that had swept through their camp in the days leading up to the final, and Argentina capitalized on this slow start. Angel Di Maria was causing havoc down the left flank, his pace and trickery proving too much for Jules Koundé to handle. In the 23rd minute, Di Maria won a penalty after being fouled in the box, and Messi stepped up to convert from the spot, sending Hugo Lloris the wrong way to give Argentina a 1-0 lead. Just 13 minutes later, Di Maria doubled Argentina's advantage with a sublime finish after a flowing team move that showcased everything beautiful about Argentine football. France looked dead and buried at 2-0 down, with many fans already preparing to witness Messi's coronation as World Cup champion. But then came one of the most remarkable comebacks in World Cup final history. Kylian Mbappé, who had been anonymous for 80 minutes, suddenly exploded into life. In the 80th minute, he converted from the penalty spot after being fouled in the area, giving France a lifeline they desperately needed. Just 97 seconds later, Mbappé struck again, this time with a stunning volley that flew past Emiliano Martinez to level the match at 2-2. The Lusail Stadium erupted as French fans who had been silent all evening suddenly found their voice. The momentum had completely shifted, and what had seemed like Argentina's inevitable triumph was now anyone's game. Extra time was a cagey affair, with both teams knowing that one mistake could cost them everything. In the 108th minute, Messi thought he had won it for Argentina, scoring from close range after a scramble in the box to make it 3-2. But Mbappé wasn't finished yet, completing his hat trick with another penalty in the 118th minute to force the final to penalties at 3-3. The penalty shootout that followed was where our timeline diverges. In reality, Argentina would go on to win 4-2 on penalties, with Gonzalo Montiel converting the decisive spot kick to give Messi his World Cup. But in our alternate timeline, it was France who held their nerve when it mattered most. The shootout began with Messi and Mbappé both converting their penalties, the two superstars leading by example for their respective teams. Paulo Dybala and Ousmane Dembele both scored their penalties to make it 2-2 after 4 kicks. But what if Leandro Paredes stepped up for Argentina's third penalty only to miss? And what if Gonzalo Montiel, who in reality would become Argentina's hero, missed his chance at cementing history by missing his spot kick as well? This would have France winning the World Cup 4-2 on penalties, becoming only the third nation in history to successfully defend their World Cup title. And this is where the ripple effect begins. The moment France won that penalty shootout, the trajectory of football history changed forever. Mbappé's hat trick combined with the penalty victory would have immediately launched him into conversations alongside Messi and Ronaldo, with many arguing that achieving back-to-back World Cups at just 23 years old gave him international credentials that neither of the established legends possessed at that age. The narrative would have been brutal for Messi, failing in yet another final, and this time losing on penalties after coming so close to glory. Most crucially, this result would have fundamentally altered how we view greatness in football. Instead of Messi's emotional triumph becoming the defining image of never giving up on your dreams, we would have had a story about raw talent and youth-conquering experience and sentimentality. The footballing world would have been forced to accept that Mbappé was now operating on the same plane as Messi and Ronaldo, establishing himself as the present and future of the sport. And it would begin with one of the greatest honors in football, the Ballon d'Or. Mbappé's Ballon d'Or supremacy and entry into elite company. The immediate consequence would have been Mbappé's coronation as the 2023 Ballon d'Or winner, making it the most one-sided vote in the award's recent history. A World Cup hat trick in the final, the tournament's golden boot, and lifting the trophy as the youngest player to win consecutive World Cups would have rendered the competition meaningless. But more significantly, this achievement would have catapulted Mbappé into the same conversation as Messi and Ronaldo for the first time in his career. At 23, with 2 World Cups already secured, Mbappe would have possessed international credentials that neither Messi nor Ronaldo had at that age. While he wouldn't have been in the GOAT debate yet, he would have established himself as the heir apparent to their throne. The comparisons would have been inevitable and constant. Here was a player who had already achieved on the international stage what took Messi until age 35 to accomplish, and what Ronaldo never managed with Portugal. This wouldn't have made him the greatest yet, but it would have positioned him as the only active player with a realistic path to challenging their legacies over the next decade. For France, this victory would have established them as a legitimate dynasty rather than a one-off success, joining Brazil 1958, 1962, and Italy 1934, 1938. As only the third nation to successfully defend a World Cup would have elevated them to a tier of international football royalty that few have ever reached. Deschamps would have achieved something only Vittorio Pozzo had accomplished before him, becoming just the second manager in history to win consecutive World Cups. His status in French football would have transcended legendary to become almost mythical. Back-to-back World Cups would have meant France approached Euro 2024 and the 2026 World Cup as overwhelming favorites, potentially creating a period of French dominance unseen since Brazil's golden era in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The psychological advantage of being proven winners on the biggest stage would have been immense. Every major tournament would have started with France as the team to beat, and that kind of mental edge often becomes self-fulfilling in international football. But the French legacy came at the expense of one man's dream: Messi's shattered legacy and the shifting hierarchy. Perhaps the most devastating consequence would have been the complete rewriting of Messi's legacy. 4 major international finals lost, including 3 on penalties or in extra time, would have created an insurmountable narrative of someone who couldn't deliver when it mattered most for his country. His club achievements would still have been legendary, but the absence of international glory would have been weaponized in every future debate about football's greatest players. The cruel irony is that he would have come as close as humanly possible to World Cup glory without actually achieving it. The hierarchy of football greatness would have been fundamentally altered. While Messi and Ronaldo would have remained in their own tier due to their extraordinary career achievements, Mbappe would have emerged as the clear leader of the next generation. The narrative would have been simple but powerful. Here was a player who had already accomplished internationally what Messi spent his entire career chasing and what Ronaldo never achieved. Every future comparison between the three would have started with that basic fact. The GOAT debate between Messi and Ronaldo would have continued, but with the added complexity that a 23-year-old had already surpassed both of them on the international stage. And that success will cause a huge tilt in the transfer market. The financial implications would have been staggering. Mbappe, as a double World Cup winner and Golden Boot recipient, would have commanded transfer fees and wages that would have redefined the entire market. Real Madrid, who were already pursuing him aggressively, would likely have paid whatever PSG demanded, potentially setting a new benchmark for player valuations that could have reached 350 to 400 million euros. His wage demands would have been astronomical, possibly exceeding what even Barcelona paid Messi at his peak. European football stood to benefit massively from France's triumph. For South American football, this defeat would have been catastrophic beyond measure. Brazil hadn't won a World Cup since 2002, and Argentina failing again would have meant the continent going over 2 decades without World Cup glory. This would have triggered a crisis of confidence in South American football philosophy that could have lasted a generation. The traditional South American approach of emphasizing individual flair and creative freedom would have been questioned fundamentally. Countries like Uruguay, Colombia, and Chile might have completely restructured their youth development systems to mirror European tactical discipline and systematic approaches. The romantic notion of South American football as the beautiful game's spiritual home would have taken a potentially fatal blow. Argentina specifically would have faced a psychological reckoning. Their golden generation, built around Messi, Di Maria, and others, would have been remembered as the team that came closest but couldn't cross the finish line when it mattered most. The impact on Argentine football culture would have been profound. potentially setting back their World Cup ambitions by another generation as they struggled to rebuild both tactically and mentally from such a crushing defeat. But what about South America? It may also have led to a question on if the path forward was replicating Deschamps' style. Deschamps' pragmatic approach would have been completely validated as the optimal tournament strategy. His systematic excellence would have become the template every national team tried to replicate, accelerating football's transformation from art form to science. The emphasis would have shifted further toward tactical organization over pure technical ability, dealing another blow to the romantic notion of beautiful football winning major tournaments. The psychological impact on both nations would have shaped their approaches to future competitions in profound ways. Argentina, devastated by another near miss, might have seen Messi retire from international football immediately, robbing them of their leader during what became their golden period in our timeline. Without the confidence boost from World Cup victory, their performance in Copa America 2024 could have been completely different. France, meanwhile, riding the high of back-to-back triumphs, would have carried an aura of invincibility into Euro 2024. The mental advantage of being proven winners, combined with Mbappe entering his absolute prime, could have led to an unprecedented period of international dominance. We might have witnessed France winning 3 major tournaments in a row, something no European nation has ever achieved in the modern era. This single penalty shootout result would have rewritten not just individual legacies, but the entire trajectory of international football for the next decade. The ripple effects would have touched every aspect of the game, from how we evaluate greatness to how clubs approach transfers, from tactical philosophy to continental pride. Football history would have taken a completely different path, all because of a few crucial penalty kicks in that electric Lusail Stadium atmosphere on December 18, 2022.